What's up, family? I'm gonna do this video here dealing with time and respect. When I say that, I'm saying in the sense of when someone is respectful towards you and giving you their time, it is only respectful, nothing less than you to show that same respect back. Anything less than that is disrespect. So if someone took the time to give you their time, shouldn't you reciprocate that respect back? Let me give you an example. Let's say someone invites you to their event or something like that, right? They invite you to the event. They take the time to send you an invitation. They ran into you in the public, in the street somewhere, and they ask you again, yo, man, you definitely coming? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. And then you show up. Not only do you show up, but you show up with your family, your wife, your kids, and all, and you have a good time. Sounds pretty simple, right? But now, let's do the flip side of that. You came with your family, your kids, your wife, and all, but now you're having an event, and you invite that person to come, and then they tell you something like, oh, man, I'm gonna try to make it, type of thing, right? Or they say, man, I ain't had the time. I'm sorry. You see them a week later or whatever. They say, man, I'm sorry I didn't come, man. I ain't had the time, man. I just got caught up in so much stuff. That's nonsense. And like I said in the beginning, anything less than that is just straight up disrespectful. For example, a lot of people love to use this nonsense statement, and we all heard it before. And that statement goes something like this. Let's say you need someone time for whatever reason, right? And they'll say these disrespectful words. Oh, I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna try to make it. You know what that means when someone say they're gonna try to make it? That is their escape clause. And what I mean by that, their escape clause is that's their way that if they don't make it, that's their way of when they see you later, they can say something like, well, I told you I was going to try to make it. See, that's an escape clause, so a person don't have to have no commitment. But yet and still, like I said with the other thing, when they was having something, they wanted and they expected for you. Oh, wow. They wanted and they expected for you to be there. So wouldn't that be disrespectful? Respect people's time. You got to also remember, if a person is always showing up late, not showing up at all, always got excuses about their time, is so busy, but when they needed you, you didn't make excuses for them. If a person don't respect your time, then they don't respect you. And you must always remember that. I know that might sound like a hard one to go with, especially when it's your family members or something like that. You go, man, my family wouldn't do me dirty like that. Well, let's use a little common sense. Let's take another one, dealing with time. Let's take materialistic things, right? Let's say you lent your brother, let's say your brother wore a pair of your sneakers without your permission and stunk them up. Let's say your sister wore your shoes and tore them up, wore your dress and put a hole in it, come back with them smelling like cigarettes or whatever, just destroyed it. Right? Use your car and wrecked it. Sat in your couch with a sharp item in the couch and damaged it. My point with all this, these are materialistic things. You can get another car. You can replace those shoes, those sneakers, right? You can replace those things. We all know that. You can replace those things. But time, you cannot replace time. When someone wastes your time, uses up your time with disrespect, you can't replace that. Those are things that you honestly have to say, okay, this person just wasted my time, I'm gonna move on. Because you can't get that time back. And with saying that, 8 ball in the corner pocket, dang! With saying that, how you can't get that time back, it brings me to someone like a person that happened to be doing time in jail, for example, right? Let's say someone is doing time in jail. Speak to a person that's in jail. They'll tell you. They'll sit there and tell you how much time they got for whatever crime they got. They'll tell you how much time that if I only had a little bit more time, I could have got away with this. If I had some more time. See, it's like a saying my wife used to always say, time waits on no one. I'm sure she got that from someone else, someone older, whatever. But I love that she said that because at the time I had never heard it. But man, a person in jail, they got so much time on their hands. It's amazing. I remember the thing that used to offend me so much is some of my acquaintances, my friends way back in the days, I used to try to turn them onto different type of books and stuff because, you know, I'm a big reader myself. But they was always, oh man, Jordan, I ain't got the time to read that book. Or I'd be like, yo man, I gave you that book. Did you read the book yet? Oh man, I ain't had the time, man. What you mean you ain't had the time? You know what you got time for? BSing around. You realize the average person watches so much TV. It's like an old video I did that's very great. You should check it out. It's called You Got 168 Hours. 168 hours is representing one whole week. And that's what I was talking about. That. What do most people do with their time? I'll give you the main two things. We know we gotta sleep and eat, but most people are watching TV and working a job, making another person rich. Think about what I'm saying. So back to my initial state. What was I talking about? I said, I used to hate when I used to ask my friends, try to turn them on to a good book or something. They always claimed they didn't have time. But it was so ironic. These would be some of the same people. Now all of a sudden, they in jail. They're doing time. And these would be the same people that would contact me through a number of people or whatever, or however they would contact me and say, Joe, man, could you send me a book while I'm here in jail, man? You know what I'm saying? Oh, so now you got the time to read. You see what I'm saying? It's a shame that your free time had to be taken from you. That now you got the time because you're locked down. Because you're locked down. It's amazing. I remember one time I was talking to one guy in jail. This guy had so much time on his hands. The way he told me he had did his time. He said, man, you know how much time I did in jail? He said, man, I did 3,810 days in jail, man. That's how much time I did. You know what I'm saying? And when he said that, I was sitting there like, 3,810? I had to really sit there and try to count, but I'm really saying to myself, why didn't he just say I did X amount of years? But I had to really sit there and go, 3,810 days? How much time is that? So I had to really go, wait a minute, 365 is 1 year. If you double 365, that's 730. Okay, so that's 2 years, 730, but I ain't even close to 3,000. Double 730, that's easy math, right? 1460, right? 1460, so that's 4 years. So he said 3,810 days. So at 4 years, 1460, I said double 1460. I'm really doing this in my head. You know, so that would be, if you double that, that's 2920. 2,920 days. That's 8 years. 8 years. That's still not 3,810. So I said, all right, 29, 20, I was really sitting there, 29, 2,920. Let's add a 365 again. That'd be another year. Add another 365. That comes to 3,285 days. That's still not 3,810. So we had 9 years now. 9 years. So I said, all right, we add one more. All right. So we had 3,285. Okay, another 365 will be another year onto the 9. That would be 3,650. That's 10 years. I'm close. So now let's count by 100. If we 3,650, just go 650, 750, that's 100. Add a 50, that's 800, so that's 150. And 10 days, that's 160. So why didn't the guy just say, man, I did 10 years, 160 days. That's how much time I did. But he really had me sitting there, counting 2 plus 2. He really sitting there had me counting the days. But see, that's what happened when a person's in prison. Now they got nothing but time on their hands to think about what they did, what they're going to do. You imagine the average person in prison, if the warden told them, I'll give you 24 hours to be out of prison to take care of all the things you need to take care of. Of course, you're going to have a lot of guys that say, I'm going to take that time to get revenge on whoever did me dirty. But you have a lot of other ones. Let's go with something positive. A lot of people that know they'll never get out, they say, I'm going to take that time to get all my faculties and all my family members and everything I need to get into order, get it in order. See, I ain't going to keep going on because we could go so much with time, But the main thing I'm saying to most people, if a person don't respect your time, they always late and got excuses, they don't respect you. I'll give you one last one before we go. This is dealing with an old movie, real old movie. It was with Robert Williams and Robert De Niro. Two great actors, right? This movie was called The Awakening. It was about Robert De Niro. He was like a special, he had some kind of disease, scoliosis or whatever it was. He couldn't control his body functions and the way he talked and all this. And Robert Williams had came to the facility where he was giving medical treatment, he was giving nurturing treatment, he was giving personal treatment, and he was experimental drugs or whatever the case. And he had told these people, I think I can make these people better. Like I said, the name of the movie is called Awakening. But anyway, he had gave Robert De Niro, who was all messed up and all, he had gave him all that attention, the medication, all the treatment that he said would make these people better, right? He had gave him that treatment, and sure enough, Robert De Niro had got physically and mentally better. It reminded me of that old book I read in high school called Flowers to Algernon. Almost the same. But anyway, so in this movie, when he got better, he was no longer acting all crazy and yelling out stuff. He had went to the parole board. Remember, this video is dealing with time. A lot of people love to waste time. So when he went to the parole board, they asked him, if we gave you the time to leave this facility, what would you do? And I remember clearly he said, because I watched this movie when I was a teenager, I never forgot it. Because I said, it's amazing how what some people do with their times, other people waste it, or other people could use that time, utilize it in a great way. But when they told him, if we gave you the time to leave this facility, what would you do? His answer was, sitting in front of all of them, he said, well, if I was given that time, he said, I'll simply take a walk. And they said, what? You could do that now? He said, no, I'll take a walk without being supervised. And then he said, I'm not a criminal. I haven't committed any crime here. So I would like to do that on my own free time. And then all of a sudden, the one lady, she really pissed me off. She said, Mr. Such and Such, she said, do you realize you are unconsciously releasing hostility to us? And she said, well, how did she say it? She said, do you realize you are unconsciously releasing hostility to us in an exhibiting way, whatever. She said, I remember those 3 words. You are unconsciously being hostile and exhibiting that to us in a way. And he said, what? What do you mean? He said, how could it be hostility if I'm unconscious? But then the other guy shut up. But then the last guy said, well, what would you do with your time if you was released? And he said, I would simply take a walk. I would read a book. I would sit up under a tree, look at the clouds, and enjoy the day. Now, they thought he was crazy for saying that. Because he said, I would do all the things that you people take for granted with y'all time. Y'all just wasted doing nothing. I would enjoy my day, enjoy the time that has been given to me. So obviously, Robert Williams came to him later in the cafeteria, and he asked him, did I get approved? He took him to a series of excuses, and then eventually he said, no, they denied you. See, they denied him because they said he was crazy because he said, I would read a book and sit under a tree and look at the clouds. What is wrong with that? But see, that's the whole point of this whole video, like I said. What are you doing with your time? How much time are you wasting? Like the other video I got personally that's called, You Got 168 Hours. What you doing with your time? Because I'm going to tell you right now, most people spend most of their time watching TV, and even the people that claim, oh, I don't watch a lot of TV. You're watching that cell phone a lot, ain't you? So that's the TV. Most people spend most of their time watching TV or working for someone else. So what I'm saying in closing to a lot of people, use your time to build yourself. Use your time to make yourself better than what you was yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade. Use that time to say, what did I do before? I'm going to do better than this time. How did I handle that situation with that person or that person? I'm going to do it better this way.
And just to add with that, sorry to the interruption,
No, you're good.
but treat each other as you wish to be treated.
Very good.
If you give respect and if you give time, like what you say,
Yeah, time and respect.
then you expect that in return.
Yeah, that's something that our parents taught us, right? When you know better, you do better.
Yes.
Take the time to reflect on your decisions. How many times we have got ourselves in trouble by running our mouth or whatever the case, right? And then later on we say, dang, man, I wish I had the time to redo that. I wish I could do that all over. No, you can't do it all over, but you can do it now by watching this video and say, you know what? You're going to be more proud of yourself when you take the time to think about what you're going to say before you say something so foolish to somebody. And now you're wondering why you may have ruined that relationship, or that relationship don't exist no more, or someone looking at you in a certain type of way. Just be mindful of how you use that thought before it comes out of your mouth. Think about it and use that time to reflect on being better. Remember what I said my wife used to always say? Time waits on nobody. You ever thought about sometimes you wasting so much time before you know it, a day went by, a week went by, years went by. You know how many times people be on a computer so many hours, they be like, oh my God, where did the time go? I've been on this computer for 4 or 5 hours. I don't even realize it. Where did the time go? Time go by fast. So like she said, time waits on no one. Think about it, folks. Reflect on yourself with the time that you used. Make it better than it was before.